What if a chance meeting could shape your entire destiny? Imagine stepping into a chapter of your life and encountering the very person who would become your greatest mentor and lifelong friend. The Miracles and Prophecies of Saint John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Adrian Fonseca. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today we'll witness the pivotal moment when young John Bosco enters the seminary and meets his spiritual director, Father Cafasso. This encounter would set the stage for the birth of the Oratory and a friendship that would last a lifetime. 3 themes to keep a lookout for in the video: the role of providence in our lives, the importance of mentorship in growing in our spiritual lives, the power of humility in pursuing your vocation. And I'm curious, how has a mentor or spiritual guide influenced your faith journey? And before we get into the story, join our monthly promoter family and let your prayers unite with ours in daily rosaries and Saturday masses. The link is in the description box down below to sign up. I'll tell you more about it later in the video. Tradition has it that the seminary that Don Bosco attended in Turin, the convent of St. Francis of Assisi, was founded in 1210 by the founder of the Franciscan order himself, who had come to Piedmont province of Italy in his 30s. In 1834, St. Francis de Sales and St. Charles Borromeo were declared its protectors. At 20 years of age, St. John Bosco made the most important decision of his life. He entered the seminary. There followed 6 years of intense studies, after which he was ordained as a priest on June 5, 1841. On his first day as a theology student, St. John Bosco was greeted by the smiling Don Cafasso, who showed all the warmth of a father's goodness. The 2 men made light conversation. The older man asked his student how he had spent his vacation. He asked him the news of his health, for news of his relatives, and the parish priest, and other priests in the village and his own family. Then, concluding the pleasantries, he kindly explained to John the rules and spirit of the seminary that he was now a member of. Finally, to Don Bosco's delight, he explained that the young man need not concern himself with expenses. These would be covered entirely. The boarding school in these days had a lot of income, allowing many pupils to be granted reduced board, and the poorest and most promising were accepted free of charge. To these, Don Cafasso and his superior, Don Guala, had secretly handed over the money needed to pay the tuition to the bursar, so that no one would learn of the boy's need for financial assistance. Don Bosco was then assigned a furnished room of impeccable neatness. Cleanliness and good order reigned everywhere in that seminary, an outward sign of spiritual and moral order. As evening came, all the new and old boarders gathered in small groups, and in animated conversations waited for the bell to ring. Entering the chapel, the rector came, intoned the Veni Creator, and the school year opened. Of all the faculty, the students of the seminary, Don Cafasso would have the greatest and most lasting impact on our young saint's life. Cafasso entered the boarding school as a pupil on January 28, 1834. Though small in stature and slender, he was constantly at work in the pulpit, in the confessional, and in the school, and in the prisons assisting those condemned to death. Rather serious in appearance, he was always gentle in answering his pupils' questions, and took great care of their bodily health. He dispensed the weakest from meat abstinence, preferring that they keep themselves robust to work hard. But nothing is so marvelous in the private life of Don Cafasso as the exactness and the observance of the rules of the boarding school. So wrote Don Bosco himself of him. Don Bosco continues, "Therefore he was like a machine, and the ringing of the seminary bell led almost instantaneously to fulfilling that particular duty. I remember that one day, out of need, a glass of water was brought to him. He already had it in his hand when he heard the bell ring for the rosary. He drank no more, laid it down, and went immediately to that practice of piety. "Drink," I told him, "and then you may go again in time for this prayer." "Do you," he replied, "want to prefer a glass of water to such a precious prayer as is the Rosary, that we say in honor of Most Holy Mary?" This saintly priest was chosen by Don Bosco as his spiritual director, to whom he confessed regularly every week. Indeed, Don Bosco wanted to take as his motto Don Cafasso. He did this so well that many of his sayings, facts, and methods directed to promote the glory of God and the health of souls were reproduced versions of those practiced by his spiritual director. For him, Don Cafasso's conduct continuously repeated the Apostle Paul's exhortation, "Be imitators of me as I am of Christ." Today I will leave you with one last pearl of wisdom that went directly from Don Cafasso's mouth to Don Bosco's heart. Don Cafasso used to repeat to the seminarians, "Make yourselves holy." The priest, great work, great dignity, but at the same time, great obligations, which require proportionate virtues. A priest can be reputed a saint by men and not be so before God. A third of the virtues proper to the clergyman is enough to make him pass with men in the concept of a saint, while he cannot be so in the eyes of God, who sees the secrets of hearts. A priest truly such at death goes easily to heaven. But if he is not a priest entirely, he is far more likely to fall into hell than into purgatory. These were sobering words indeed that were meant to separate the men from the boys, the true priests from those with selfish motives. And yet, with high standards like these and a list of rules to be observed as long as my arm, the seminarians were financially stable and overflowing with men. There was not a vocation crisis, far from it. Could the crisis that we have seen in our own times be due to the fact not that the church demands too much of her priests, but that she demands too little? Just a question. As we reflect on the profound impact Father Cafasso had on Don Bosco's life, we are reminded of the power of spiritual guidance and communal prayer. What if you could be a part of a community that carries on this tradition of devotion and intercession? Experience the power of prayer with Saint John Bosco. As a monthly promoter, your intentions become part of something bigger. Imagine your prayers joining ours in daily rosaries, your name whispered in Saturday masses. Don Bosco and Father Cafasso understood the transformative power of prayer and the Mass. They knew that these spiritual practices were not just rituals, but lifelines connecting us to God's grace directly. Imagine starting your day knowing that your intentions are being lifted up in our daily rosaries. Picture the comfort of knowing that every Saturday your name and needs are being presented at the altar during Mass. This isn't just support, it's a spiritual partnership that strengthens your connection to God. Join our monthly promoter family and let's storm heaven together, inspired by Saint John Bosco. Click the link in the description box down below to start your journey with us today. Don Bosco's journey into the seminary teaches us several valuable lessons. 1. God's providence works in mysterious ways, often through the people that we meet. 2. A good mentor can shape not only our path, but the lives of countless others through us. 3. Humility is key to fulfilling our vocations. And as we reflect on Don Bosco's experience, let's consider how we can cultivate mentorship relationships in our own lives and strive to live for high standards of virtue as exemplified by Don Cafasso. But what did you think about today's episode? What stood out to you the most? Leave a comment in the comment section down below because I would love to know your thoughts, and I try to reply to as many comments as I can, so I'll see you in the comment section. Thank you for joining me today. Saint John Bosco, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.